Yo, it's your financial astrologer Sama here. Wanted to get on camera to talk to you guys behind the curtain. Okay, so part of what I felt would be useful is explaining a couple of things about how I trade markets and how the newsletter works, just addressing some FAQs. Hopefully the Loom video was helpful. Beehive is the newsletter platform that hosts all the posts as well as all the new emails that come out. So when you guys get the premium newsletter, it will come from me through Beehive, the platform. You can log in and look at all the previous ones, and these will also get pushed to your inbox. Expect them on the 1st of the month, okay? I'm aiming to have those in your inbox by 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, all right? So that's what I try to do. However, what technical analysts, which I am, do is we look at charts that end at a particular time. And so one of them that I tend to have to navigate around is what's called the monthly close, okay? I try to time the letter with the monthly closes, and that tends to happen on Sundays at late evening for me. The close of markets is based on Greenwich Mean Time. So that falls for me in the late evening. So what I try to do then is once that close is in place, I then look at the charts for the month and confirm, and I basically do my thing to confirm what I had been working on before I then push out the newsletters, okay? So that's what's going on the back end. Look out for that 1 p.m. generally Eastern time. So that's going to be noon if you're Central Time, 11 if you're Mountain Time, 10 if you're Pacific Time. And then, of course, if you are outside of the States, then that's going to be later in the afternoon or evening for my friends in Europe, and then, earlier in the day for people who are, in Japan and more Australia, New Zealand. All right. So that's how that works. Okay. And now I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here about day trading and algorithms and swing trading, because it's possible that some of the new people that have joined here might be looking for that. I am not here to tell you where the market is going on a day-to-day basis. That is competing against algorithms, which you're a human being. And so I encourage you, I've done this because I was being educated about something that I'm not going to talk to you guys about. It's an algorithm essentially that you can't beat. Go look at this. You can see this even on the minute charts. If you day traders, if you're a day trader and you're looking at and you do day trading, the candles themselves don't close. They don't decide until like 59.9999 tenths of a second, because it is in that millisecond that the algorithm is deciding where to push or send the asset or the index based on it trying to make profit for its owner. So if you think you can beat quantum computing, have at it. But this is the wrong place for you, and you can unsubscribe. All right. But for the rest of you who don't want to be glued to a screen, and again, if you know what I'm talking about, it's an algorithm owned by BlackRock. We'll just leave it there. If you know what I'm talking about and you have an edge around that and you know how to navigate that, talk to me. All right. I know someone who has. I'd love to have a conversation with you, but 99.999999% of you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, and you are very unequipped to be day trading in these markets. You can't compete. So just that's the rant. How I trade markets and what this newsletter will do is it's giving you price projections of zones and areas that the market, or the assets in particular that you guys have an interest in, are naturally gravitated to due to energetics, technicals, everything. So what you then do is what's called swing trading. I'm kind of like a hybrid between swing trading and investing, and that is what this newsletter allows you to do. So it's you're as subscribers of my channel and of the newsletter, you're generally going to know he's bullish or he's bearish for the next year and a half, because that's generally how those cycles tend to go. And what's happening within the newsletter itself is navigating between the ebbs and flows of that. So anticipating dips, opportunities to accumulate, and on the bear side, anticipating pumps, opportunities to exit, and also what I'm accumulating during the bear market and how assets are going to shift and how the phases are moving through those markets so that you know, okay, this phase is ending. I should accumulate what I'm going to accumulate because we're going to get bullish, or okay, we're topping out. The bull market's coming to an end. So if you are new here and you're joining and this is the monthly subscription is a new experience for you, you've joined at a great time because as you heard me talk about in the video that probably brought you on here is that we are near the end. And so what you will experience is guidance on how to navigate the end or the top of this bull run. I've been through this before. And so if this is your first time through something like this, it's very useful to have kind of like a Yoda or some information that what I'm going to do is basically narrate what's going to be going on in your head, both emotionally and what's happening in the markets, so that when you see yourself and you feel these things, you can kind of check yourself. That's the benefit of having someone who's been through these stages before, particularly in crypto. Okay. So hopefully that gives you guys an understanding. And one thing for some of you guys, um, like there's a member named Trond. I haven't been getting any of your messages. I just noticed that you've been messaging me for months related to the full tier with gold and Forex. And I had noticed a couple of those messages from a couple of you other members, but that wasn't making any sense to me because there's an upgrade button on every email. And I had talked to the platform Beehive, and we basically had figured out that what I had set up in the beginning of the newsletter a year ago was never even being displayed to you guys, nor was it even possible. So all that's being worked out, and that will be available for you guys in the next couple of weeks. I'll send an email out, and there'll be a discount for that, clearing all that up. But if you guys have watched my videos or been subscribers of me for a while, you know that this is it. Q2 of 2024, which I've been talking about for over a year, is incredibly bullish. So the easy prediction for you guys is whatever the asset is, it's probably going up over the next 3 months. Gold, oil, uranium, all of it. As the title of this particular email is, it's what market isn't at an all-time high. Yes, there are some outliers out there, but pretty much everything is mooning. Everything is pretty much green. And that will continue due to the dramatic effects of this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's coming. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to get into the month. I want to wrap that up and just have that be, you know what, I'll just have this be one video instead of making it two. So we need to talk about the eclipses, okay? They're a huge concern. Huge concern. This eclipse is going to have ramifications that play out over the next 3 to 4 years, and they're affecting the Americas. And after this really deserves a video of itself because America's had a Pluto return, and now this eclipse in particular, with the way the aspects are lining up, it's so for the month of April. Let me not get too lost in the woods. For the month of April, we have 6 sign changes, right? Venus is changing signs. It's moving into the sign of Aries very early, around the 4th or 5th of April, depending on where you're at. And then we have the sun moving into Taurus. That happens, every year. And Mars is going to be ruling into what's called its rulership position in Aries. And there's also going to be a Saturn-Mars conjunction this month as well, all right? Venus is moving into a sign Aries in what the traditional astrologers would consider its detriment, basically an area it doesn't like to be in. Okay. So while that might sound like bad news because Venus represents money and it's the planet of money, the planet of money in Aries should actually portend for good things for things ruled by Aries and Mars energy, which Bitcoin has a strong relationship with Mars. And so I'm actually seeing that this should be positive for Bitcoin, but there is still the energy of the retrograde, the eclipse, and the Saturn-Mars conjunction that make the first 2 to 3 weeks very unstable, volatile, and difficult, more so for the world. So my thoughts on markets, because again, they are all at all-time highs. Everything's pretty bullish. My concern is something happening on the world scale, global scale, war related to America or Mexico or Canada and some of the countries that are at war right now. Or something weather related because Mars rules weather that shocks and scares people that then is kind of like a semi black swan, not a full-on black swan, but something that as a response makes market drop, which would be in crypto and Bitcoin in particular, a buy the dip opportunity. Okay. So that's how I'm looking at the first 3 weeks. Okay. When you have the planet of peace and harmony and the sign of war during a month where there's an eclipse of the Americas, I'm not happy about seeing a lot of these alignments and how the eclipse is looking. I don't want to get too much into eclipse astrology here because I'm probably coming out with a video on that with my research. We'll see. Um, we'll see how it goes. But I'm meeting with her tomorrow, and she has huge concerns about the health of President Biden. But if you've been following astrologers in general, even during the last election, they were astrologers that I was even studying under or following, which it's not many, but the handful of them were all kind of saying, dude, whoever wins this election is probably going to die. So I've been for the past 4 years just, he's been falling, he's dropping ice cream all over himself. So for my researcher to say he's probably going to pass, I mean, he's not a young man, but if there is a video coming on that, you'll see. So we have a full moon in Scorpio around the 23rd or the 24th of April, and the sun's going to be in Taurus, you guys. So with that full moon, that's an opposition. It's about give and take. It's going to be a very emotional one. There's going to be a lot of issues and things that people are holding on to, and something that is tying to this element of what is mine versus what is yours and self-worth and financial situations in general. So this is a good time for you to consider what is going on with your financial situation because it is a Mercury retrograde period as well. So not a great time to dive into new ventures with new people. It's a good time to be revisiting your portfolio, right? To be, if you've purchased my reports, watching them again, right? Kind of rethinking the decisions you made rather than just blindly jumping into new things. And if there are dip opportunities, right? And that makes sense with what you've already planned or discussed or were already informed or educated about, because maybe you got those reports or you already have your own thesis and how you're approaching the market. You can use the Mercury retrograde to move things and reposition assets maybe that were bullish, taking profits off of one thing, rotating them to another, using the retrograde for that. Okay. But this is a full moon telling us something needs to be released and there's some kind of a culmination. So whatever is likely to happen in markets or in the world around the 10th of April with the Saturn-Mars conjunction, I'm thinking comes to a culmination or light around that full moon. So in financial astrology speak, what that could look like is if there is a buy the dip or a drop in markets around the 10th of April, by the full moon, we might see that markets have rebounded. Because by the full moon, we will also have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in effect. And the 3 weeks of energy that I'm talking about here that's really volatile, we would have passed that time frame. Okay. So if you see like Bitcoin getting into the 50s, right? Or if any of the indices that you have an interest in getting into dropping, I would consider those a buy the dip opportunity. Okay. And with that conjunction too, watch out for electricals in general. Commodity prices are likely going to go up. Maybe even your electrical bill. Maybe there's an electrical shutoff. Hopefully this cyber attack garbage that is likely going to come at some point isn't this month, but we'll see. We'll see. Right. So some of you asked about gold. I talked about gold in the BRICS video. Watch that if you haven't seen it. Again, Q2 is the quarter in which gold continues to go to all-time highs. And if you're unfamiliar with the cycles of gold, There is an 8-year cycle. It's really like 7 years and almost, there's like 7 years and like 9 months or something like that is really the length of the actual cycle. It actually begins this June, which if you've watched my climate change wars video, and I am working on a part two because I have to. If you've watched that video, then you know that I'm saying all the currencies and gold and metals go to basically like a crack up boom similar to the 1929, 1930 scenario in Germany at 2032, 2033. There will be a part two diving into more of that and being more specific. Okay. So 8-year cycle in gold, gold all-time highs Q2, commodities, the metals, the things that the building blocks of things that go into the electronics, the equipment, the EVs, electronic vehicles, potential nuclear power, and biotechnology, all of these things that touch on those sectors that I named, they're going up, they're going up, they're going up. Okay. So again, won't be in a straight line. Mercury is considered the trickster planet, and it is moving backwards in terms of how we look at it from the sky. And these aspects over the next 2, 3 weeks, over the short term, volatile, unpredictable. April 10th, huge concern. 2 days after the solar eclipse, Mars and Saturn, the two heavy planets, the malefics, the harsh planets, they join together. And so again, Mars affects the weather. Saturn affects authorities. The eclipse is over the Americas. It's a solar eclipse that affects rulers. So heavy stuff coming probably for leaders, rulerships, governments. We'll see what happens. But the good news, you guys, is Bitcoin has confirmed an all-time high on both a monthly time frame and a quarterly time frame for Q1. So if you've purchased any of my reports, once again, we are seeing a confirmation of the base case that I laid out last December, which means Q2 is going to melt faces, right? I'm likely going to come out, and remember, anytime I use the word likely, I'm not promising you shit. All right. I'm just saying the probability is high. Okay. But I'm probably going to come out with a video titled S&P to 6,000, 7,000 question mark. The answer is yes. I'm telling you right now, Q2 bullish. Okay. Nothing moves in a straight line though, and that's why you're here. And that's why we're going to be looking at the markets with the month-to-month time frame and with any updates throughout the month as needed. Right. And remember, you haven't seen Bitcoin's final form yet. We're going to get even more parabolic. Right? It goes like this, then it goes like this, then it goes like this. And if we get more parabolic, then it goes like this. And if we get more parabolic, then it goes like this, which how much more steep can you get, right? I don't know if you've ever skied or snowboarded. It's like being at the top of a mountain, you know, it's incredibly steep and dangerous at the very top. And things happen very quickly when you drop. And so when you guys see those $10,000 candles in a day, Bitcoin's moved up $10,000 in one day, then you know, right? You can wake me up then, we know we're close, and it's time to be taking profits when you guys see price action like that. All right. As usual, be well. Please take care of yourself. One love to you and yours. Peace. See you next time.